it's because the road's getting shorter and shorter and I don't see anything. And this is where Richard stood up, put his hand on my shoulder and whispered in my ear, "Mama, I think this is what heaven looks like." We got out after driving the long haul from Michigan and started checking out our new home. This was our castle. My bed was right here. And then Hank later got us bunk beds here, so Richard and Elizabeth were here. Even to this day, I'm sure we all feel like we are the luckiest people ever to wind up here. So I usually would wake up around 4:30 in the morning, head out of the cabin while the kids were still sleeping, and then walk up here to the Dude Ranch. I did breakfast, lunch, and dinner, pies and cakes. This is where all the cookies got started. I only made snickerdoodle and chocolate chip up here at first. That was enough. I just figured it out, and if it looked right, and then the cookies had to be really big because they were going out on lunch rides. They had to go in the saddlebags, and they'd ride for like 3 or 4 hours, and the cookies never broke, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, these are the best cookies I've ever had." And then they were sending sandwiches back and wanted 2 cookies for lunch. And the guests were more affluent people. They had businesses of their own, and for years they'd say, "You need to own your own business. You need to own a cookie business." The name came from Roberto Cerro, which was the editor at the New York Times. And he was a regular here, loved the cookies. And he's like, "Mary's Mountain Cookies, you gotta go do it. You'll open store after store. Next thing you know, one store after another. I don't even know how or what, or so much happened. It just went boom. It worked. This is probably the magic ingredient. Yep, I could give you the recipe, you go home and make it, it won't be the same. From what I've seen over 25 years, a cookie's really a cookie. But for some reason, people get more out of our cookies than just the cookie. I think it's just plain old simple passion, probably. And to Hank, I mean, I dedicate so much of what I turned out to be from Hank. He loved me, Richard, and Elizabeth. He just took us in like we were his own. He taught me a lot of cooking, just living life one day at a time. You know, today, don't worry about tomorrow, we'll just live today to the fullest. He was a big part of this place. I mean, look where it all came from. This was an absolute blessing coming here. So every single cookie that gets eaten is blessed. And then it goes into you, and I think that's the whole picture. I don't think it really is about cookies.